September the 12th, 2021. Guys, I wanted to do a satellite update before we lost sunset. It is 5:50 here in central Mississippi. And what you're looking at are satellite images over the Gulf of Mexico. I talked about this. It's a large area, and it's pushing that smoke back north. It's coming over from the west coast in Canada. And I should have mentioned also it's bringing a lot of heat and humidity. It's one of the warmer days. We're at 87% humidity now. It says 80 degrees. Real feels 85. Not that bad, not complaining, but there's a difference with that. But look at the size of this system now. Very strong, very powerful. They're saying it's still a tropical storm, 40 miles per hour. But there's a lot of energy involved here, and wherever it goes, it looks like it's going to be some pretty good flooding. Now, don't take that lightly, because people can lose their lives and their property in this type of rain. So, again, I wanted to let you see it visually before the sun sets. I want to take a look at also the infrared images from this particular view, and let's look at the moisture that's there. And it's definitely becoming more centered around the center of circulation. You're already starting to see it along the Texas, very northeastern point of Mexico along the coast, through Louisiana, over into Mississippi. What we're dealing with now here is overcast. Still a light bit of smoke, but most of it, again, is pushing north. Alabama, Florida Panhandle, you're starting to see it. And actually, the moisture that you're seeing in central and south Florida is part of this entire circle. Look at it, coming across Cuba. And it's trying to pull moisture in from the Pacific Ocean down across the Mexican Peninsula. There's a lot there, and you notice these black and white sections of the storm. That's where it's really peaking out. Now, that should somewhat calm down as the sun sets tonight, because it is heat generated. But it's going to recycle. We're going to see that happening. I don't know how strong this thing's going to get, but it has a lot of energy there. And if it stalls out, guys, wherever it comes ashore or gets close to, then it's going to bring a lot of rain. If you just look at the width of the bottom section where you're seeing the large red areas, where the main center of the storm is, that's as wide as the entire coast of Louisiana. So you can't take it lightly. Tropical storms can do as much damage as a hurricane, depending on how fast they move and how much moisture is involved. Look at what Ida did to the northeast, the cities there, Philadelphia, New York, all of that. Over 50 lives lost because of flooding. So don't just take this lightly. It's not a good day to be going to offshore fishing, and it's not a good day to let your kids swim along the coast because of rip currents. Just take into consideration those factors. It's not worth it. We're going to watch it, guys, because I think it's important that we pay attention to it, because it does look like it's strengthening very quickly. Now, this system that we've been watching, guys, is just east of the Bahamas, that they're kind of watching the Carolinas for, is moving faster. It's growing powerful. And notice in the bottom right of the screen, coming across the Leeward and Windward Islands, there's a system there. It's just very active right now. Now, the National Hurricane Center is not mentioning the system in the bottom right. I'm just pointing it out because there's so much energy that's being dispersed here in the peak of hurricane season that a lot is happening. But if you notice in the very center of the screen, this is the system we've been watching, and notice the outflow around it as it explodes through the day, and it's starting to get dark over the Caribbean. Notice that. So that should help with the storms. But this outflow here is telling you the strength of what we're dealing with. This thing could become a lot more problem than what we're thinking about. Maybe it will dissipate. Maybe it will get into some upper level wind shear, but I'm just not sure. Let's look at what they're saying about it. I want you to notice one thing that's changed slightly about this particular model is that it's moved to the right or to the east slightly. Now, as it's coming ashore at 1 a.m. on Tuesday, that's 1 hour after midnight tomorrow, this thing is setting over Houston and Galveston. And if you think about the right side or the northeast quadrant of this, that's where it's going to be pushing the wind, waves, everything, tornadoes, and things like that. And notice it is now turning back into more of central Louisiana, northern Louisiana. But the white cone that's in just dots, to where it may go, like we talked about this morning, and that's what it's doing, is the 4 and 5 day forecast. So that could change. And all it takes is a slight change in the high pressure that's over the U.S. to make this thing move left or right. But 1 p.m. Tomorrow afternoon, the storm is setting here off the southern east coast of Texas. But guys, that's going to be coming in starting pretty soon. And you'll start seeing the wind come from from inshore. In other words, if you're looking at the beach, this wind as it starts in South Texas and Mexico will be coming from your back, blowing out to sea because the side of the storm you're on. And we're just dealing with a tropical storm. It's not a Cat 2 or anything like that. But then it's going to change and that northeast quadrant's going to come in. So just be aware of that. And notice at the bottom, it's still at 40 miles per hour, north movement or northwest movement at 14 miles an hour. I think it's sped up about a mile per hour, but it's moving in close. But guys, it is tracking just a little to the east. And so it still looks like it will come ashore just south of the Houston and the Bay Area there, Galveston. But it looks like the bad side of the storm will be there. Don't forget about it. You've got blue line, tropical storm warnings. You've got the yellow line, tropical storm watches. Now, this goes back to 4 p.m. Central Time this afternoon, and it's called the Storm Surge Forecast. The highest peaks will be between Port O'Connor and St. Louis Pass or St. Louis Pass, and that's 3 to 5 feet, 2 to 4 feet back towards Baffin Bay, Corpus Christi. And so you can just figure that going down from the left to the right. But this 2 to 4 feet goes all the way to the mouth of the Rio Grande River and all the way to the intercoastal city area of Louisiana. So, and at that point, you're down to 1.3 feet. But I think we're going to see the storm strengthen somewhat. And these may rise slightly, but they are watching it. And right here where we're looking at Galveston Bay, guys, right here, if that storm comes in on this side of it, then the northeast quadrant's going to push a lot of water into the bay. So be prepared for that. Now we have one other storm that's coming off the coast of Africa that we're going to watch, but right now we need to pay attention to this one. It's 50% chance of development in 5 days. It says an area of low pressure is expected to form north of the southeastern or central Bahamas in a few days, resulting from a tropical wave interacting with the upper level trough. That's why you're seeing those storms. Gradual development of this system is possible, and a tropical depression could form later this week several hundred miles southeast of the Carolinas while it moves northwestward across the western Atlantic. 2 p.m. update. There possibly will be one very shortly that's updated from there, but you saw the satellite images. And when they point out, and if you think about it, they could say this thing is several hundred miles east of Florida, right? But because of that cone, then pay attention, Carolinas. They have a reason for doing that. Guys, we're watching this. Again, I wanted to do this before it got dark. We couldn't get good images, so you see what we're going to be dealing with. So prepare, Mexico and Texas. You don't have much time, especially right around the border, and it's going to be moving north from there. We're watching it. In the Carolinas, this thing could become something we really need to pay attention to also. Be safe.